Hello my friends, welcome back to another video. Today it's 2D animation time. We are looking at starting a shot and going through some of the different stages of my 2D animation process. Nothing we haven't done before, but hopefully still interesting to some of you guys. I had already drawn a single rough frame here, establishing the camera angle and the composition for the shot that I wanted. And using that I can start to rough out my poses for how I want my character to move. I'm making an animated short film where the story revolves around climbing, and specifically bouldering. If this rough drawing does not indicate what's going on, this is a top-down shot looking down from on top of the boulder onto the climber as he's trying to make a dynamic move towards a hold that he's trying to grab onto. It might be hard to see at this stage, but below the sort of square shapes that are part of the background will be crash pads to save my character's ankles if he fell. The background will of course be painted in the end and brought to a state where it matches the other shots that I've already finished. For some shots, it's good to focus on the character first and just roughly lay out the composition and background for the shot, as the focus here in this shot is my main character's movement, and that's the most important thing to get right. And that means I will put my focus on that first. For a wider shot like this one, for example, I could, and I did start by painting the background for this one, and then animated my characters into that shot. I think here you can say that the scene itself is the hero of the shot, not so much the characters on their own. But for a close-up like this, the background is not as important as the character in terms of storytelling. I kinda label them based on that hierarchy of importance of storytelling, and that way it's easier to see what to start with. This might not always be the case, but I think maybe there's something to that. Story first, so therefore I make sure the storytelling elements are clear before committing to the shot. It would suck if I painted the background for this shot and then realized halfway through or when it was finished that I needed a different angle to actually tell the story. At this point in time, it's easy to change things. I could fully scrap it if I didn't like it, or, I could rework it a bit. So the consequences are quite low. I've been posting a bunch of videos where I do these steps in real time on my Patreon. Less edited and more raw, if you will, where you can witness my full workflow and hear me trying to keep a stream of consciousness going while I work. Well, it's basically me sitting around talking to myself, so yeah, you should keep a bowl of popcorn ready for that. We've reached a point where the rough animation is complete. The motion is working, but it's lacking any form of polish. So from here I drop the opacity of what we've already made and start to draw my character on top. I basically dress this blank mannequin we've made with the features of my main character. This part of the recording was taken from one of the Patreon videos where we looked at drawing the clean characters on top of the rough path. So therefore you can see my head, bobbing about in the top corner here. Here we face the decision of how much detail one should put on the character. Obviously, the more intricate the drawing is, the more has to be carried over to the following frames, which in the end means more or less effort. More doesn't always mean better in terms of details here. We have the same principles apply here as in any form of illustration, where simplifying shapes is important and where we're trying to get pleasing shapes to read. Confident line work can be important here, but there's so many different styles and approaches that you can go for, so I don't really want to say that anything is right or wrong. It's up to everyone to figure out for themselves. While you watch this, let me shoot you a quick question. Were I to live stream, would you find that interesting and something you would watch? Let me know in the comments and I might look into that. This shot is quite short. As you can see in the timeline, it's only 11 frames long, which means almost 1 second as I work in 12 FPS here. It will be part of a sequence of fast cuts between attempts that my character is doing on the boulder problem. I find it quite a lot easier to animate faster actions like this than a character that is like talking or moving with less dramatic movements. You know, small intricate details in acting are quite tricky. And fast-moving stuff I find a little bit easier, at least in my opinion. It's definitely more forgiving to errors and inconsistencies with the fast-moving actions. But you can of course make anything complicated, so I won't say that action animation is never tricky. The ironic part here is that none of these lines will actually be seen in the end. I will go over this one more time with colors and only use these as guides to where to put my final color shapes. However, having a tidy line drawing does not only make for a good YouTube video, but it helps to completely lock down the final look of the character. To color this will be actually very straightforward from here, and I have, left no room for errors really. Now we have almost all the line work fleshed out, and I think we will end the video at this point. I now have to get on to the coloring and to paint the background. Let me know your thoughts about the live streaming. It might help me, my sanity I don't always have to sit here and speak into a void. There might be some conversation coming back from you guys. And if you want to see more content and more videos, you can check out my Patreon. We're a bunch of people over there now, so feel free to join in. And big thanks to those of you who already are supporters there. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and also subscribe to the channel, of course. I'll see you in the next video.